Alright, so dividing fractions. So basic success criteria is to be able to divide any fractions. So we're first going to look at this term that's in pink here that says finding the reciprocal. So we're going to talk about what that is and why we need it for dividing fractions. And we're going to use that to then follow the process and do some calculations. Alright, so a wee bit of kind of slightly different thing to show you at the start, but then you should be fine after that. Alright, so right, I do actually need you to copy this down, what's on this screen. So if you can copy this statement, so this new term which is called the reciprocal. So the reciprocal of a fraction, to get the reciprocal, you just simply swap around the numerator and the denominator. Okay, so copy what's in that white box, and then we've got 4 examples to show you. So copy that definition, and then let's do these 4 examples. Okay, write down the fractions as they are, and then a wee arrow, and we'll then write down what the reciprocal is. Alright, so it says quite simply, swap the numerator and the denominator around. That's literally all we have to do. So if you write down your first fraction as 2 over 3, the reciprocal of that fraction is just those 2 numbers swapped about. So the reciprocal of 2/3 is quite simply 3/2. Okay, write down the next one as well, 3 over 4. The reciprocal of 3 over 4 is quite simply 4 over 3. Alright, so all we're doing is swapping them upside down, and that's how you take the reciprocal. So if we had 5 over 3, the reciprocal of 5 over 3 would be 3 over 5. Now the reciprocal of a half, we would flip 1 and 2 around, so that becomes 2 over 1, but actually we know that whenever we're left with 2 over 1, we will never leave it as 2 over 1. It actually just turns into just the number 2. Whenever you have a whole number over 1, it just turns into the whole number on top. So actually the reciprocal of a half is 2, and the reciprocal of 2 is a half. So for example, if I had the number 5 and I wanted to know the reciprocal, that's technically 5 over 1. So I would say that the reciprocal was 1 over 5. Alright? So why are we doing this? Why are you telling me to flip fractions upside down? Well, because when we are dividing fractions, this reciprocal is part of the process. Okay, so the next screen we're just going to read through. I don't want you to copy any of the next slide. We're just going to read through it, because what I would do now with you if we were in class is a wee investigation into reciprocals and multiplying and dividing, and do a kind of little test, not a test, do a little kind of experiment, I suppose. But we're not going to do that because we don't have the time. Okay, so just read what we would have done. So a wee mini investigation. So what I've done with previous classes is basically picked any 3 numbers down the left hand side, and picked any fraction, right? So the number 4 and 2/3, the number 6 and 5 over 6, number 3. Right, now if we divide those fractions, 4 divided by 2/3, and we did this using calculators, so just type in 4 divided by 2/3, 6 divided by 5/6, 3 divided by 7/9, that's the answer you get. Now, what we are trying to investigate here, if my screen would actually properly work, it would be a big help. What we're investigating here is what happens if you take the reciprocal of each fraction. So instead of doing 2/3, change it to 3 over 2 and multiply by the reciprocal. Now what we find as we look through each column is, you see, if you change from dividing by a fraction to multiplying by the reciprocal, it gives the exact same answer, and that will work all the time for every single fraction. Okay, so we get this rule, which we do need to copy down, that dividing by a fraction is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. So please can you put this in a big box in your jotter on your paper, because that's important, really important rule for dividing fractions. So actually when we divide a fraction, we're not actually doing a division. We're going to change it to a multiplying, and we're going to flip the fraction upside down to take the reciprocal. Okay, so there's actually no such thing as dividing a fraction. You change it to a multiplication and you multiply by the reciprocal. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let's look at some examples of that. Okay, so on the left, this is our 2 that we're going to do. So copy down these two. So it's 1/5 divided by 1/3, and then I've got 3/7 divided by 6/7. Okay, so just copy those two down. These are our examples. I'll do them with you. Okay, so fundamental thing I need all of you to listen carefully to right now. The first fraction never changes. Now, despite me saying that, some of you will get this wrong today, okay? But please try and make sure that you're not the person who gets this wrong. The first fraction never changes. So if it's a 5th at the start, you write 1/5. Now, what does change is the second fraction. We change it to a times, and we take the reciprocal of the second fraction. So we flip it upside down. So 1/3 becomes 3/1. Okay? Now, because we're still doing a multiplication, I'm leaving it as 3/1 because we're going to multiply the top and multiply the bottom. Now, remember, when we're multiplying, we're looking for those corners. Can I simplify? Well, no, I can't. So it's just 1 times 3 is 3. 5 times 1 is 5. And the answer is just 3/5. Okay, that's it. So all we did is we flipped the second fraction upside down and changed it to a times. So I'll show you how it works with the next one too. So the next one, please write it down. It's 3/7 divided by 6/7. So the first fraction never changes. Write down 3/7. First thing never changes. What does change is we change the second thing to a times, and we flip the second fraction upside down. We take the reciprocal of the second fraction. So 6/7 becomes 7/6. Now, those of you that were paying attention when we're going over multiplication should now see that we're going to look at the corners and we're going to try and divide now. Now, we can't simplify any corners at the start because it's not yet a multiply. But when it turns into a multiplication, we can now look at simplifying those corners. So straight away, I can see from my diagonals that I've got a 7 and a 7. So they can both be divided by 7 to turn into 1s. And top left and bottom right, they're both in the 3 times table, right? So I'm going to divide that by 3 to give me 1. I'm going to divide that by 3 to give me 2. Now we multiply the top numbers that are left and multiply the bottom numbers. 1 times 1 is 1 over 1 times 2 is 2. Simple as that, okay? So first fraction stays the same. We change it to times and flip the second one upside down. Then we go through our normal multiplication process. If you can simplify the corners when you multiply, I recommend you do it. Okay, just always remember to simplify your fraction fully. Some people prefer to simplify at the end and not do this corner thing. That's okay, just as long as you do remember to fully simplify at the end. Alright, I've got 2 for you to try that are very similar. I'm now going to give you 2 or 3 minutes. Do these now. Go. So look carefully at what I've done in my example and repeat the process for your examples, which are ever so slightly different. Adam, I see your message now. I don't know if that's a problem on your end with your headphones or something, but Nobody else seems to have trouble hearing me, so can you just double check, maybe leave the call and come back in, or double check, try and do something with your headphones or your volume. Right, remember, change to multiply, do the multiplication, and leave your answer in its simplest form. Right, we should be just about finished. Can you put your hand up for me? Can you use your hand up function if you are finished? These two. If you've got an answer for these two, put your hand up. Okay, right. Most of us do. That's fine. Okay, right. Okay, hands down, please. Right, here's what we're doing. I want you to give me your answers, please. So, in the comments, give me your answer. Now, as a fraction, you can just put the top number, a slash, and then the bottom number. So, the first question was 1/5 divided by 2/3. Can you write me your answer in the comments, please? Go. Okay, some of you giving me your answer now, and yep, I can see it all coming through. Release, Josh, Freya, Hannah, comment. Yep, yeah, that's correct. Well done. You've got the. If you've said 3/10, that is the correct first answer. Now I'll just do the working for you. 1/5 stays exactly the same, so well done for remembering that. We change it to times, and the second fraction gets flipped upside down. So 2/3 becomes 3/2. We now look for corners to simplify. We can't do that. So 1 times 3 on the top is 3. 5 times 2 on the bottom is 10. So 3/10 is our answer. So well done for those of you that got that. Next one, I think there should be some simplifying to do. So before I go through the solution, give me your answer, please, to B. Okay, it doesn't matter. Don't worry about anyone else. Just give me the answer that you got, please. Okie dokie. A few different answers this time. Let's see how we get on. 2/21 seems to be the most popular. Right, a few different answers though. So let's be careful with this one. So listen to me carefully. Look at your working as I go through mine. 3/7 stays as 3/7. Right? The divide changes to a multiply. 9/2 flips upside down. We take the reciprocal and it goes to 2/9. Right, my computer's having a bit of a hard time here. Seems to be close to giving up. So bear with me here. Right. Now, if you were to just multiply the top and multiply the bottom, you would get 3 times 2, 6 over 7 times 9, 63. Now that would be correctly multiplied, but it wouldn't be fully simplified. So what we look to do is look at these diagonals and see, is there a place where I can simplify this multiplication to make my number smaller? Well, 2 and 7 can't do anything with that, but 3 and 9 both are in the 3 times table. So I would be dividing them both by 3. So that goes to a 1, that goes to a 3. Now we get 1 times 2 on the top, which is 2, over 7 times 3 in the bottom, which is 21. So 2 over 21, that is now my final answer. Just check, can I simplify it? Can I divide 21 by 2? No, I cannot. So 2 over 21 was the correct answer there. Alright, so remember, flipping the second one upside down, change it to a times. The first fraction is rock solid, stays exactly as it is. Do not change that first fraction. I'll be upset if you start doing that. Okay, keep the first fraction the same, change your divide to a times, and then flip the second one upside down. Okay,